Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the meditation. So as usual, we will start with establishing a Mahayana motivation for this practice. So we can contemplate the reality of our existence. The first teaching the Buddha gave 2,500 years ago is that we actually have no control over our experiences. We cannot choose whether we will meet with pleasant or unpleasant experiences. Because of our mental afflictions, our delusions. In the past, we have accumulated different types of karma. Positive karma, negative karma, we have engaged in virtuous actions and non-virtuous actions. And as a result, sometimes we have pleasant experiences and sometimes we have unpleasant experiences. We might fall sick. Someone might be angry at us, deceive us. We have no control over that. And the Buddha taught this has been the case since beginningless time. From time immemorial, we have been taking birth again and again, going through these various types of experiences without any control. Try to generate a sense of wanting to get control on our lives, on our experiences, not wanting to meet with the unpleasant. We all share this common motivation of wanting to be happy, not wanting suffering. This is something all sentient beings share. The Buddha has taught that for us to stop unpleasant experiences, for us not to experience suffering, we need to put an end to the causes of suffering. Our suffering experiences are a direct result of the negative actions we accumulate. And why do we accumulate those negative actions? It's because we are driven by our mental disturbances. We are driven by our delusions, afflictions, such as attachment, hatred, jealousy, pride, and so on and so forth. And all of these are rooted in self-grasping ignorance. This is the root of all delusions. Thinking that ourselves and all phenomena exist out there intrinsically, inherently, thinking that things exist objectively from their own side. When we come to see and realize that phenomena are actually subjectively existent, they are merely imputed by the mind, then we start uprooting the afflictions, we start uprooting our mental delusions. So try to generate a wish. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. karma, and delusions, afflictions. Then try to recognize that not only myself have no control over my experiences, not only myself am deluded. It is the case for all sentient beings. They all want to be happy. They all want to avoid suffering and pleasant experiences. But constantly, because of their afflictions, they are engaging in actions that are non-virtuous, and thereby accumulating negative karma, which constantly ripens, sometimes being born as a poor person, as a sick person, as a person with a lot of obstacles, difficult experiences in life, sometimes being badly treated by others, sometimes being born as an animal. Some animals might be lucky, being pet dogs, pet cats, and so on and so forth. But most of the animals, some of them are living in the wild, constantly in the fear of being eaten by others, bigger animals. Many animals are actually seen as food by humans. And then you can imagine the life that they have on the death row, waiting, first being fed, living together in small places, and then sent to the slaughterhouse. Can you imagine the suffering of that life? The pain, the fear, the anxiety. Can you imagine those who are subject to experiences in medical labs? Try to generate, to have a feeling for how all sentient beings, humans and non-humans, how they are experiencing different kinds of suffering, unpleasant experiences due to their accumulated karma in the past. Karma that they have accumulated because of their mental delusions, afflictions. And all of these afflictions, such as attachment, anger, jealousy, pride, and so on and so forth, all of these are rooted in self-grasping ignorance, thinking things exist objectively. There is this thought, I, me, as solidly real, totally independent from anything else. And because of this sense of intrinsically existing I, me, myself, then the second thought that comes is that we feel more important than others, and all these afflictions arise. All these karmas are created, and constantly sentient beings are taking rebirth in the various realms of existence, going through all sorts of experiences without any control. Try to generate a sense of compassion for all sentient beings. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Try to feel this in your heart. And then we try to generate an altruistic intention. I myself will do something. I will do my best to help them to get relieved from suffering and the causes of suffering. Now I have this human life. and I have met the teachings of the Buddha, I have this life that is endowed with so many freedoms, so many endowments, richnesses. Having met the teachings of the Buddha, I'm able to engage in study of those teachings. I have all the capacities and the time to contemplate on those teachings and to meditate on those teachings, to transform my mind, to purify my mind from all these mental afflictions, purify all the negative karma I have accumulated in the past, realizing the ultimate nature of all phenomena. With this precious human life, I'm able to do all that, free myself from all afflictive obscurations, and free myself from all cognitive obscurations to become a Buddha, to become fully awakened, to achieve the state of omniscience. By becoming a Buddha, I will be able to benefit, to guide, to liberate countless sentient beings from suffering and its causes. Try to generate bodhicitta, this wish, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. So with this Mahayana motivation, this bodhicitta, we will engage in the meditation today. So we will start with 5 minutes of calm abiding, single-pointed concentration. We have new people here today at Tushita, so I will summarize the essential instructions for calm abiding meditation. There are 4 instructions, and the first is to look at your body posture. The most important thing is for your back to be straight, for your spine to be straight, aligned, to your body to be upright. Ideally sitting on the floor with your legs crossed. The best would be in the full lotus posture, but this might be difficult. So you can sit in half lotus, simply cross your legs. You can also sit Burmese style with one leg in front of the other. If you're sitting on a chair, make sure your back is straight, not leaning against the support, also not leaning forward. The best would be for your hands to be in the meditative mudra. So your left hand, you put your right hand on top, and your 2 thumbs are touching slightly, and your hands rest on your lap. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, even, body is flexible. One tip of the ancient masters is for your tongue to be touching slightly your upper palate behind your upper teeth. So this reduces the production of saliva. Your head is slightly tilted forward, but aligned with the spine. And we actually don't meditate with the eyes completely closed. We leave them slightly opened, gazing in a space in front of you, about 45 degrees cast down. But we don't pay attention to what our eyes are seeing. It is the mind that meditates, the mental consciousness. So whatever our eyes are apprehending, we don't pay attention to that. We try to put all our attention on our mental consciousness. The second instruction is actually the object of meditation, the what we place our focus on. So if you are used to practicing single-pointed meditation, you can bring to mind the object you are familiar with. But if you're a beginner, if this is your first karma binding meditation, what I would suggest is visualizing a very small dot of white light, maybe 1 or 2 millimeter in diameter, between your nose and your upper lip. Very small, tiny drop of light, white light, between your nose and your upper lip, and place all your attention there. You can also count cycles of breathing, counting 1 for each cycle of breathing in, breathing out. So the idea is to place all your attention on this single object, this tiny dot of white light, and try to remain for the 5 minutes that we will do on that object single-pointedly with your full attention. The third instruction is that during meditation, distraction comes. There are 2 errors that come during meditation. The first one is excitement. The mind wanders, thinking about the future, thinking about the past, not remaining on the object, thinking about what I will have for lunch, thinking about events of yesterday, and so on and so forth. This is the first error, excitement, mental excitement. The second is mental laxity or dullness, lethargy, like the mind is sinking, like falling asleep. So it is very important to identify these 2 errors. And the fourth instruction is actually the antidotes, the remedies to these 2 errors. So these antidotes are introspection and mindfulness. Introspection means that during meditation, you should have a part of your mind constantly checking, am I meditating? Am I concentrated on my object of focus? If not, immediately when I notice that my mind has wandered, with mindfulness, I bring back the mind to the object and try to remain on the object without losing it again. Introspection is a bit like if you're at home and you have a pet dog, you notice that your pet dog has run away, so you go and catch it. You bring him back to the house, and in mindfulness, the analogy is you put a leash and you tie the leash to a pillar so that the dog remains there at the house. So similarly, we check constantly, am I meditating? Am I focused on my mental object? And if not, immediately I go back to the object and I try to remain there. So we will try this for 5 minutes. Gently come out of the meditation. And so we will continue contemplating the Lamrim, the graduated path to enlightenment. And as usual, before doing our analytical meditation, we will engage in some prayers and visualizations to create the causes for our minds to realize the different points of the graduated path. So at Tushita, we are on page 34 in the prayer book. And on Zoom, it should be appearing on your screen. So the first prayer we'll recite one time in English and 2 times in Tibetan. So we can remember our Mahayana motivation, bodhicitta. We are doing these practices so that we might be able to benefit sentient beings. We can visualize Buddha Shakyamuni in front of us, surrounded by all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. His Holiness the Dalai Lama. All the awakened beings in front of you. And we can also visualize that we are surrounded by all sentient beings, starting with your mother of this life on the left, father of this life on the right, and countless sentient beings around you. And we are guiding them into these prayers and practices. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Chudan Soke Chonam La Jonjo Bado Dane Gyabso Che Dagi Jinso Gipe Tsognam Ki Jora Benchir Sangye Jubara Isho. Sangye Chudan Soke Chonam La Jonjo Bado Dane Gyabso Che Dagi Jinso Gipe Tsognam Ki Jora Benchir Sangye Jubara Isho. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. And then these 7 limb prayer is actually the 7 branches of practice, which is a very short, concise way of purifying past accumulated negative karma and accumulating what we call merit, which is like positive potential for us to be able to quickly understand and realize the different points we are meditating on, so that we may be able to transform our minds and become of benefit to all sentient beings. So for each of these 7 points, we'll shortly pause after reading them so we can contemplate on the meaning. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. So we can visualize all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas in front of us. And the idea is that we want to become like them, free of mental obscurations, free of afflictions, to achieve this state of full awakening, to be able to guide all sentient beings. So this is the meaning of prostration. You can visualize prostrating to them with countless bodies around us. And the second point, I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. So we can visualize offering to them all the water bowls, light offerings, incense, food offerings that are here at Tushita, that are in all the Dharma centers, monasteries, at the great stupas, the Mahabodhi stupa in Bodh Gaya, Bodhanath stupa, Swayambhunath stupa in Kathmandu, all the beautiful flower offerings, water bowls, and so on and so forth. You can visualize transforming these into blissful nectar and offer it to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, countless infinite Buddhas. Therefore, the offerings become numberless, infinite. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time. So the idea here is to recognize that in the past we have engaged in non-virtues, such as maybe lying, stealing, deceiving others, talking harshly to others, engaging in idle gossip or divisive speech, having thoughts of malice or covetousness. Try to generate a sense of regret, meaning I don't want to experience the resulting karma from these negative actions. I don't want to suffer in the future. So in that sense, I regret. It's not about feeling guilty, it's about not wanting to experience the suffering result of these actions. And rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. So as Lama Zopa Rinpoche used to say, this is the quickest way to accumulate a lot of merit, a lot of positive potential. By rejoicing, we can think of all the deeds of Buddha Shakyamuni, who tirelessly helped beings for so many years, decades, teaching them, helping them, benefiting them. We can think of all the vast activities of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Still constantly, tirelessly giving teachings at his advanced age, guiding people. We can think of all the holy actions of our teachers. We can rejoice in the activities of all the monastics who are engaged in extensive studies, contemplation, meditation, those who are offering service, those who are engaging in meditation retreats. We can also rejoice in our own positive actions, in the positive actions of our friends and families. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence. So we are asking our teachers to have a long and healthy life, so that they may continue to guide us, to teach us the Dharma, and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. Please continue to teach us. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. And next we'll read the Foundation of All Good Qualities, a short Lamrim prayer, which contains all the essential points of the Lamrim, the graduated path to enlightenment. So at Tushita, it is on page 139. So this short prayer contains all the points we are trying to understand and realize So we go quickly through all these points in this prayer and requesting the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and our teachers in front of us that we have visualized to grant us blessings to quickly realize those points. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful, and is difficult to find again, please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativities, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Seeking samsaric pleasures is the door to all suffering. They are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all modern migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop only bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I have specified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of calm abiding and special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows in Samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of the Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and the path, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. So just to clarify, because we have new people here from France, where the word guru is a bit of a bad word. In Sanskrit, it simply means teacher. Like, for example, the Dalai Lama here is our teacher. Lama is the Tibetan word for teacher, and in Sanskrit, literally it means guru. Sanskrit, which is the ancient, one of the ancient languages of India, that was used in the monasteries, such as Nalanda Monastery, for the scriptures and for study, for debating. This was the language used back then. So over the past month, we have contemplated the first points of the Lamrim. The first one being the importance of relying on a teacher to guide us. Just like when we want to learn how to play piano, we need someone to teach us in order to transform our minds, to be able to benefit others, to be free from suffering. We need to rely on the instructions of someone who has previously transformed their mind, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The second point is that now we have this human body with so many freedoms and endowments, which is very difficult to find. But once found, it is highly meaningful. We have this precious opportunity to study, contemplate, meditate. But this opportunity might cease at any time. For sure, death will come inevitably. This is the next point of the Lamrim. it is inevitable that we will pass away and this opportunity will come to an end. We don't know what is coming next after death, what kind of life we will experience when we get reborn. We might not have these freedoms again, might not be able to study, contemplate, meditate again. So we must take the essence of this life before it comes to an end. It might end at any time. Even today, we might have a heart attack, or simply like crossing the road, we might have an accident. We never know when death will come, but for sure it will come. So let us take the advantage of this life to transform our mind as much as possible, because at the time of death, in future lives, this is the only thing that will help us. Our possessions, our friends, none of that can help us at the time of death and in future lives. Only the work that we have done on our mind will help us. Then we have contemplated how in the next lives we might be reborn in the lower realms. For example, as an animal. We don't want to experience such a life in which there is no opportunity to work on our minds, and where we have even less control than we have now on our experiences. We have contemplated how the three jewels of refuge, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, can help us. We're relying on the Buddha, who is fully awakened, on his teachings, the Dharma, which actually is the wisdom realizing how things exist in actuality. We're realizing that things are devoid of objective existence, then we are able to purify our minds from the afflictions and obscurations. The Dharma is that which liberates, and the resultant purification, the absence of the obscurations, cessation of all of these mental obscurations. And the Sangha, those who have realized the nature of reality, those Arya beings, are there to support us, to guide us. So now last week, Kabirji has started the next chapter of the Lamrim, which is karma, the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. And today we will quickly look at the general characteristics of karma. The first is that karma is definite. For sure, non-virtuous actions that are non-virtuous, such as killing, stealing, lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, and so on and so forth. For sure, these actions will bring suffering. These actions will never bring happiness. And virtuous actions will bring happiness. They will never bring suffering. So we can try to generate a conclusion in our hearts that in order to achieve happiness in the future and in order to avoid suffering, I must practice virtue and avoid non-virtue. The second general characteristic of karma is that karma increases. Even a small action can bring immense results. Just as one small seed can bring a huge tree bearing many flowers and fruits. So we can conclude, I must try my best to refrain from even the smallest negative action and to create even small virtuous actions. The third general characteristic of the law of cause and effect is that one does not experience the suffering, one does not experience the results of action that one doesn't do. We don't experience suffering for causes we didn't create. We don't experience happiness without causes for happiness. Whatever we experience today is the result of actions, positive and negative actions that we have done in the past. So we can try to generate a conclusion that there is no way I will experience good results in this and future lives unless I create the causes for these results. And I will not have to experience bad results as long as I avoid creating the causes for those bad results. And then finally, the fourth and last general characteristic of karma is that actions that are done do not disappear. Once an action has been created, an imprint is left on one's consciousness. And this will bring results in the future when the right conditions have come together, even after many lifetimes. The exceptions are that virtuous karmic seeds that have not been dedicated to enlightenment can be destroyed, for example, by anger. And non-virtuous karma can be purified with the four powers. So when we do good actions such as studying, meditating, when we are being generous, when we help others, if in the next moment after doing these actions we generate anger, then the good actions that we have done actually are they will not ripen, because the anger itself is so powerful that it destroys the merit of these virtuous actions. So it is very important to dedicate the merits, which is what we will do now, so that these positive actions are kind of saved in the bank account of our mental continuum, so that any moment of anger might not destroy them. And the other exception is that the negative karma we have accumulated in the past can be purified by engaging, for example, in the four opponent powers, by meditating on the emptiness of objective existence, and so on and so forth. Therefore, I must purify whatever negative karma I have created in the past and dedicate whatever virtuous karma that I have created towards full awakening. So this is what we will do now. At Tushita, the dedication prayers are on page, at the bottom of page 35. And online I will share my screen again. So at the bottom of page 35, dedication prayers. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. We can also pray for the long and healthy lives of our teachers, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May they live long and healthy, and continue to teach us the Dharma, continue to guide us. We can also pray for the swift return of Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, the spiritual director of Tushita, and the foundation of the preservation of the Mahayana tradition, which Tushita is part of. The FPMT, Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana Tradition, has about 160 centers around the world. And so our spiritual director took the aspect of passing away a few months back in April. So we are praying for him to swiftly come back in a fresh body and continue to guide us. We can also dedicate the merits that we have accumulated in this session, the merits that we have accumulated in the past, the merits that we'll accumulate in the future, so that there may be no wars, no famines, no epidemics, no natural disasters, so that peace and happiness may prevail in the world. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice day.